What up, doe? This is your humble host, Jamal Baraka for GT Media Reviews. How y'all doing today? It is Saturday. It's beautiful. It's spring. Winter is over. I know Game of Thrones is back, and they say winter's coming. Winter is over, baby. It's like 60 degrees. Guys are outside on their little motorcycles with the lawnmower engines on them, baby. It is nice, man. I am having a good time today. Kids are here. Wife is gone. Let's talk comics while I have some free time, because it is fleeting and I know this time is sure to run out. So this video is touching on a subject that's kind of like near and dear to my heart when it comes to comic books. I visit my local comic book shop every week, and I usually post scans of my pull list. And one of the things I notice when I go to my shop is that I don't see as many kids in the store. Like we're often told that comic books are for kids. Shazam just came out this week, and we're told that Shazam is for kids. But when I go to the comic book shop, most people there are my age or older. Full transparency, I'm over 30 years old, and I've seen people in my local comic shop anywhere between in late 20s up to like 70 plus, I would estimate, unless this guy was old and sick. But normally I see people my age and I don't see anybody younger. So one of the problems I noted as I became a reviewer of comics is that any comic that comes out on a Wednesday is almost immediately posted online for piracy. And this was kind of shocking to me. The only books that you can't find online probably within 24 to 48 hours of release are like very small press comics or indie comics. But you can pretty much find any comic that's on the shelves released on a Wednesday before Thursday, and you could have your opinions shared across the world. So Jim Zub, on his Twitter feed, he's the writer of Champions right now at Marvel. Looking at his profile, he says he writes Avengers. He does Dungeons and Dragons for IDW. He's doing, mentioned Champions. He's done Samurai Jack for IDW and Wayward for Image Comics. And he made a public plea on his Twitter feed saying, hey, Champions came in stores today. A couple hours later, comic piracy sites have the issue available, and thousands have already downloaded it. And one of the sites already has a slew of comments as readers excitedly theorize where the series might be headed. So I feel for Jim. Now, I don't read any of his books because I don't read Marvel. So I feel for the guy, because one of the problems with the comic book industry is no one is talking about comics. No one seems to be interested in comics. And it's kind of disturbing that there's a black market out here getting, like, just sharing illegal content online and nobody talks about it. So he also goes on his Twitter feed to say, hey, if you love this series, these characters, please consider paying for it. Otherwise, we won't be around long enough to deliver on the potential. That's the simple truth. We're not in cancellation territory yet, but industry-wide monthly sales aren't good right now, and that's a problem. So one of the things that you hear about if you follow like various social media channels online is comic book shops are closing. You have some cities that don't even have comic shops, and what comic book owners are doing, what comic book publishers are doing, they raise the cover price. So you can go get an issue of X-Men for like $3.99. I think Batman Detective Comics had Detective Comics 1000 came out last week, and it was like $10. Like, who the hell is going to pay $10 for a single issue? So I see why people may be leaning toward not going to the comic book shop and maybe leaning toward piracy. Not that this excuses the action, but if you're selling $10 comics and people only have $15 for, I mean, you at $3.99, you may be able to get like 5 books for like 20 bucks or something like that. That's way too expensive. And if you want to follow these characters are like the most popular characters in the world right now, especially Marvel. So if you telling me that, buying 2 tickets to go see Endgame is about the equivalent of buying 5 comics, guess where I'm gonna put my money? Especially when I can press a button, and the book that he's mentioning right here, Champions #4, I can press a button, and here's Champions. Here's Champions right here. Let's talk about it. Here's Champions #4. With a simple button press, I can read the entire issue. This is a problem with comics. It's like, wow, he's not lying. And let's go to the comments section. There's 74 comments on this book. Now, I don't know how many users are here. Matter of fact, here's Zub. Zub says, hey, I know you all are reading and enjoying the story here illegally, and I can't stop you from pirating it. If it wasn't here, it would be somewhere else, but please consider paying for a copy either physically from your local comic shop or digitally via Comixology. Single issue sales are not in a good place right now, and many series are being canceled prematurely. I have long-term plans for Champions I would love to see to fruition, and a deep and varied cast I want to explore, but none of this is possible if you aren't buying the book. I really mean this. If you like the book, please buy it and tell your friends as well. Otherwise, it won't be around in the future, and many of these characters will be lost to the publishing archive somewhere, instead of having an entertaining series to call their own. Your support genuinely matters. Now, this totally caught me off guard because I'm recording this video and I'm on the site just free flowing. I'm freestyling this video, baby. That's how I do it. I do it off the top of my head, baby. So this is really blowing my mind that Zub actually logged into an illegal piracy site to let the fans know, hey, if you like this, buy it. And I totally feel for the guy. I totally feel for him. So this guy, Matthew, he responds, he says, single issue sales are not in a good place right now, blah, blah, blah. And he would say, I would say the exact opposite, that they're not being canceled prematurely. They are being canceled much, much too late. Now, since your book fell below 20,000 units, diamond numbers that put your book below, already below the assumed cancellation point, a point it reached in issue 2. So it'll no doubt be lower now. So your book is right on schedule for cancellation. Yikes. Frankly, Jim, your book was at or below the 20,000 mark for all of last year. With the ongoing negative sales trend, there's simply no reason to relaunch it for a new volume this year. There was simply nothing you could have done to make this title sustainable to that point. The only reason to relaunch it is because someone at Marvel decided that these failed characters would not be allowed to fail naturally. And they wanted to try to artificially spark sales with a new issue #1, which no longer works because Marvel has over-relied on that tactic for the last 6 years, and issue #1s are worthless now. There are about 30 of them a year at this point. Bro, Matthew is totally on point. The only counterpoint I can give to his argument is that if the books weren't being pirated on sites like this, more people probably would have picked it up in the store, which means that the book probably would have got more sales and may have been able to stay alive a little bit longer or actually succeed. But this is insane. Here's another one from Victor. He says, why pay $4 for a comic that is just going to insult me? No one wants to buy your comics. Deal with it. Damn. Let's see. And everybody else here is basically talking about the comics. So this is sad. It's really sad. And let's look at some more replies here. Let's see. Yep, this is Voidox. He says, yep, Marvel's only plan for their failed characters and shit-selling books is the relaunch, reboot to that sweet #1 to try to sell some copies before their books, like clockwork, will return to their shitty sales numbers. Hell, they are so lazy with this shit now that many times they just keep the same writer-artist on the relaunch because fuck it. Why look for real talent when they know their book will sell like shit at the end. And if they can't do that, it's event, or the realms. With so many tie-in books and pre-events books and post-events books. I mentioned this a few times in other issue comments, but it's hilarious how bad Marvel comics sell. Let's take the past year of comic sales number from Comic-Con. Marvel barely has any comics that can consistently make it in the top 30 that are over 10 issues. You can count how many over on one hand. If a book is in the top 30 for Marvel, it's not Spider-Man, Venom. I can't even remember off the top of my head because it is an event, a relaunch, reboot, tie-in book to an event, less than 10 issues. Lest we forget, Marvel Comics' other tactic of overshipping comics to comic shops to try to inflate these numbers, inflate numbers of their books no one wants. So I'm not going to read any more of this site because I think the point is made here. And catching Zub on this thread is just hilarious to me. So I don't support piracy. I'm just here, and just full transparency, I buy all my books, but I do go to these sites because it's the easiest way to get scans for the book. So if you look at my blog, like I have Damage number 10 up right now. So it's easier for me. I have the book. I've shared pics of it on my page of me actually holding the book in the comic shop. But it's easy for me to get a full page from a site like, a less reputable site, just so I can have pictures to fill in the blog. So that's just full transparency. Okay, so Heroes in Crisis. Here we can use this. If I load up Heroes in Crisis, the scans here actually show, I just use the scans for the blog, and that way I can have some decent pictures for it. It's not like I'm just going up here pirating books off the site. I have the book, I read it myself, and that's part of the reason why it takes me so long to get a blog post out, because I'm trying to fill in. I actually review the books that I read, and that's another reason why you don't see much Marvel, because I don't read it, I don't spend money for it, I don't know what's going on at Marvel other than what I see in the solicits or the preview pages. But it's really sad that you have creators going on the piracy sites to try to convince people to go buy these books. And then here, what's even more tragic is that the site has paid ads all over it. It has paid ads. So there's a strong possibility that sites like these are making more money than the creators that are actually creating the books. It's inconceivable. It's inconceivable. And this is a badass cover too. I would like to have this on my wall. So I'm not gonna hold anybody up. If you like my channel or you like impromptu content like this, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel at GT Media Reviews. You can subscribe to my Facebook page at the same page, GT Media Reviews. You can do a quick search and find me on Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, anywhere that you want to find irreverent content. I'm at either GT Media Reviews or Jamal is Trash. I have 3 reviews coming up. I have Silencer number 10. I've also read, what is my other book that I'm reading? Silencer number 10. I have Freedom Fighters number 2. I have Blood Realm from Alterna Comics, which I'm very excited about. And I've also have a couple other video topics that are coming soon. So if you want to join me on this chapter this new week, subscribe, hit me up. And I'm always on social media, so if you're looking for me, you can find me. Have a great one from GT Media Reviews. And I'm special thanks from Detroit. We all love you. We love all of our subscribers and anybody passing by. And if you have listened to me to this point, I don't support piracy. If you can go and find a local comic shop, even if you go to the comic book shop and find a dollar, 50 cent, a quarter bin or something like that, you can get 4 books for a quarter. When you buy comics from the local comic shop, you're supporting small businesses. You may not like Marvel or DC or any of these creators online, but you're supporting local mom and pop shops, small businesses, and I support local small businesses, mom and pops. Pirating books is the fastest way to get a book canceled. It's the fastest way to get a comic shop closed, and you're literally taking money out of creators' mouths. So if you support creators, artists, independent thought, anything like that, you owe it to yourself and to these creators and the industry that you support to love, to support them however you can. So if you don't like Marvel, you don't like DC, you don't like what's happening now, find another avenue to support. But pirating and supporting people that are running ads, these people are running ads, you know, on pirated material. That's really where I come down on it. That is messed up. So on that note, have a great day, and I would love to hear your comments on here. This is probably the weirdest video for me because I didn't expect Zub to be on this thread. Have a good one. Appreciate it, and I'll talk to you soon.